Hey Star Trek fans, welcome back to the channel and another week in Trek. It's been a bit of a crazy week out there, and it feels like a good time to take some comfort in the world of Star Trek. That said, we also have some sad news this week to share. But before we get to that, here's the rest of this week's Star Trek news.
You're the captain of the most important space station in the entire Federation. You're news.
First off this week, TrekMovie.com had a recent report about a revelation from 7 of 9 actor Jeri Ryan at the recent SpaceCon in San Antonio, Texas. As you can imagine, there are a lot of fans out there eager for a follow-up to the final season of Star Trek Picard, teased by showrunner Terry Matalas as a Star Trek Legacy series. This spin-off would presumably feature Captain 7 of 9 of the Enterprise G as seen in the Picard season finale. One fan at this event asked Jeri Ryan, "Has there ever been any talk of a Captain 7 show?" Jeri's response was interesting to say the least. Quote, "There has been talk. And there was an idea that was actually pitched to me after Picard ended, which was not the legacy show that I know fans are asking for, that I want to do. But it just wasn't me. It didn't feel like the right kind of thing. But there has been talk. And if there is one thing I have learned with this franchise, it is never say never. You never know." There weren't any further details given about this pitch, but there are several possibilities. One idea floated over the past several years would have featured 7 of 9 in her role in the Fenris Rangers, as we saw in Season 1 of Picard. Jeri Ryan, along with many other actors who would be involved, have voiced their support for a Star Trek Legacy-style series, and of course Terry Matalas would be on board as it was his pitch in the first place. However, there is still no indication from Paramount that any form of this series is in development or even under consideration. Added to that is the fact that Terry Matalas has been tapped by Marvel Television Studios to showrun their upcoming Vision series, which may impact his availability for a Star Trek series. As always, we're keeping our ears to the ground for any developments around Star Trek Legacy, but as yet it has been radio silence from Paramount. One news story that I missed last week involves something I've been wanting for some time. Round 2, the company that currently holds the license to produce buildable Star Trek plastic scale models, has revealed that the USS Cerritos from Star Trek Lower Decks is set to be released soon. Also revealed was the box art for the ship, including an exclusive box variant featuring the model as seen in the Star Trek Lower Decks Season 2 episode An Embarrassment of Duplers. In that episode, Tendi and Rutherford are seen building a model of the Cerritos. At one point, we see some box art that is reproduced in this special edition from Round 2. In the 24th century, apparently Quark has expanded his business interests into the scale model arena. Unfortunately, unlike the model seen in that episode, Round 2's version is unlikely to have working phasers and engines. I've already pre-ordered my Cerritos model from my favorite online retailer, and I'm very much looking forward to having my own California-class starship in the near future. And finally, some sad and tragic news. We have lost yet another member of the Star Trek family. Tony Todd, familiar to Star Trek fans as Worf's brother Kurn, as well as my personal favorite role of his, the elder Jake Sisko in the incredible Deep Space Nine episode The Visitor, has sadly passed away at the age of 69. He died at his home in Marina del Rey, California on Wednesday of this past week. No details on a cause of death have been reported at this time. Tony Todd was also very well known to horror fans, with roles in the Candyman franchise, as well as appearances in several of the Final Destination films. He will also be seen in the upcoming Final Destination Bloodlines. I had the distinct honor of meeting Tony Todd myself on a couple of occasions. Belying his imposing physical presence, Tony was a warm, gentle, and soft-spoken man who always took the time to connect with his fans and shared his time generously. I remember my first interaction with him. I was unthinkingly standing with some friends in front of a doorway. I felt a hand on my shoulder and a very deep voice say, "Excuse me." I turned and kind of looked up like this. Tony Todd was a huge man, very tall. When I looked up and recognized his face, and he could see the recognition, he flashed this huge winning smile, and I, of course, immediately got out of his way. There was no air of celebrity around him. He was just a person interacting with another human being. And when I spoke with him later that day, I found him just so easy to talk to and a delight to converse with. I'm going to be honest, this one hurts. I'm so sad that Tony Todd has left us. and he will be forever missed.
Sometimes I think you North Americans read nothing but comic books and those ridiculous science fiction novels.
We have a couple of Treklit releases this week, beginning with Tuesday, November 12th. Sons of Star Trek was a comic miniseries released by IDW earlier this year, featuring a reality-bending adventure with Jake Sisko, Nog, Alexander Roshenko, and Q Jr. The 4-issue series is now being released in a trade paperback collection. Here's the synopsis from IDW. From the mighty pen of acclaimed cyborg writer Morgan Hampton comes a 4-part miniseries spinning out of IDW's Eisner-nominated Star Trek and fan-favorite Star Trek Defiant series. In the aftermath of Kalus's harrowing day of blood, Jake Sisko struggles to find his place in the universe now that his family has been reunited, and his father, Benjamin Sisko, has once again saved the galaxy. Meanwhile, Nog faces the challenges of being the first Ferengi in Starfleet, and Alexander Roshenko is recovering mentally and emotionally from his time as one of Kalus's devout followers. Although his father, Worf, was able to break him away from the Red Path cult, Alexander is haunted by his actions during the bloody coup, and is unsure of his ability to atone for the devastation he has caused. Jake, Alexander, and Nog find their stories intertwined as they're thrust into an alternate reality full of lessons that may be just what the Doctor ordered. And on Wednesday, November 13th, IDW kicks off a new ongoing Star Trek comic series, Star Trek Lower Decks #1, written by Ryan North with art by Derek Charm. Here's the synopsis for the premiere issue. Hot off their Eisner nomination for Lower Decks tie-in Shax's Best Day, stellar duo Ryan North and Derek Charm are kicking off a brand new ongoing series that's a big fun adventure on a big fun ship, wherein Dr. T'Ana saves the crew from a virulent purple-boiled disease that is sure to... Wait, no, everyone's cured pretty quickly, actually. Okay, wherein Deep Space Two's distress call is mysteriously cut off and the crew has to... Wait, nope. They just needed some help resetting their comm systems. Alright, wherein Mariner gets so totally frustrated with the lack of thrills aboard the Cerritos that she drags her friends into a holodeck adventure that would definitely kill them in reality. Should totally provide them with a sense of purpose and well-being, right? Right. Or at least it would have if the USS Bonaventure hadn't shown back up from the Delta Triangle to provide them with a real challenge. It's time to explore a ghost ship, baby. Clearly, from that synopsis, this series will strike that same irreverent tone that the Lower Decks television series does. Having recently read the aforementioned Shax's Best Day, I can tell you that I am a huge fan of Ryan North's writing, and Derek Charm's art is the perfect accompaniment for this project. I'm very much looking forward to this one. And finally, Thursday, November 14th sees the latest episode of Star Trek Lower Decks, Season 5, Episode 5, Starbase 80? And yes, that title includes Star Trek's first use of an interrobang in an episode title. In the as always very short episode synopsis, quote, Ransom uses too much disinfectant gel while Mariner gets paranoid about curses. And that's it for This Week in Trek. I hope you enjoyed this video, and a special thank you as always to the Patreon supporters. Thank you to each and every one of you for watching this video this week. Join us again next week for another Week in Trek, and of course, tune into the Unready Room this Saturday, November 16th, for a live discussion of Starbase 80 with my co-host Brandy Jacala. Until then, keep safe, keep each other safe, put as much love out into the world as you possibly can. I have a feeling we're going to need it. And as always, live long and prosper.